Welcome to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison.
I'm Molly, a former skeptic turned full-time energy healer and teacher.
And I'm Madison, a born and raised witch running my family's crystal shop.
And we're here to explore all things woo through the lens of both science and spirituality so that you can find the moments of magic in your everyday life and create an intentional spiritual practice.
So if that's what you're into, find a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's demystify some magic. Howdy doody, friends.
Howdy and a duty and a friends.
Welcome back to your very favorite place of chaos.
I didn't know where you were going with that sentence.
I'm going to be honest, neither did I.
Love that for us. Love that for us.
We are here with another frequently made request, which is magic for the broom closet.
Yeah, how you can discreetly practice witchcraft if, say, you are not quite ready to tell the world that you're a witch practicing magic, or maybe you live with someone that you fear might not be accepting, or maybe you work in an office building that you feel like it would not be kosher to, outwardly practice witchcraft. Just some ideas for when you're in the broom closet and you want to be a little bit more hush-hush about witchiness.
Yeah, and these are a lot of things that I will do, even if it's something that I just want to keep private.
Yeah, I was going to say, as we were making this list, I was like, I feel like we've given all of these rituals before.
Yeah.
We've just never framed them as like, you can do this quietly, you can do this discreetly. So some of these might sound familiar, and it might just be the permission you need to start practicing.
Yeah, I think that there's a place for discretion regardless of like your level of outwardness with your practice. There are just some days that like I don't want to answer a question,
Yeah.
I don't want to explain why things look a certain way or why I'm doing a specific thing. And so those things I'll just take inward. And so even if you are not in that place of like, if you wouldn't describe yourself as being quote unquote in the broom closet, there's some stuff I think that could be useful for you here.
Yeah, I was just thinking as we were writing this list, like some of these things I did at dinner with my in-laws the other day. Not that they know I'm a witch. They have nothing against that. But it was just like, I didn't need to derail the conversation we were having into like something else. Didn't need to make it about me.
Yes, 100%. I think that there's like this misunderstanding with like being forward facing with your practice, that it has to be like loud and in other people's faces. And I think that keeps people in the broom closet for longer when it can be as chill as like any other religion or spiritual practice. Like it can be overbearing when anybody, regardless of religious beliefs, puts it in your face.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think too, like, I don't even think of my magical practice as like a religious or a spiritual practice. Like I see it as like a hobby that infuses my entire life.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's a lifestyle.
Yeah. Like people know I read, but like I don't need to talk to my parents about the books that I'm reading.
Yeah. For certainly.
Yeah. Nobody needs to know what apps I'm like playing with on my phone. They just know I'm on my phone, and that's fine.
Yeah. Nobody needs to know about my Candy Crush.
Everybody knows about your Candy Crush.
I know.
hate to tell you.
Drew told me the other day he was going to take it off my phone.
What level are you at this point?
Well, let's
get a level update.
There's a new Candy Crush game. There's a new Candy Crush app called Candy Crush Solitaire.
Oh, it's like a card game?
Yes. And it is, so they must have like bought the rights to a different game that I used to play called Tiki Solitaire. Because it is just Tiki Solitaire, but with the Candy Crush people, like with the Candy Crush characters. So let's load. Let's see where I am on Candy Crush Solitaire. Because this is, to be clear, I've had this game for a week and a half.
No.
I'm on level 579. Now, let me defend myself. We've discussed
like
Candy Crush.
100 levels a day.
Candy Crush is something that I lean on when my mental health is not great. So that, first of all, that tells you all you need to know about the past couple weeks of my life. But there was one night that I couldn't sleep. And I didn't sleep like the whole night. I think I slept a collective like 90 minutes. I would say about 300 of those levels were from that night because I discovered Candy Crush Solitaire.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm not sleeping. So then on my actual Candy Crush, there's so many things when you open the app. Like, they just make you do so much.
Yeah. It's a lot.
I'm on level 2,906.
2,000 what?
I'm on level 2,906.
Okay. I would like to let you know I have a game that I play when I can't sleep. It is called Bus Escape.
What?
Traffic jam game.
Is it the one where you move the little cars?
Yeah, and then the people get on the cars.
Oh, I see the
I'm
TikTok
on level
ads.
45. It's good.
Oh,
it's really
it's
good.
amateur hour over here, 45.
I'm not just, yeah, but I'm on level 45, but like I've bought the ad-free version.
Oh,
like
good.
I've paid to remove ads permanently.
You know,
that's how deep I am.
Did you ever have the old, like, I can't remember what the phone was called, but it was like the slide, like you flipped the screen up and there was a keyboard underneath?
The T-Mobile Sidekick?
Yes, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
On that phone, there was a game. I've been a phone game girly from the jump because
Did you have a Sidekick?
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. I wanted a Sidekick so bad. It was genuinely on the bucket list that I brought with me in my duct tape wallet. It was right underneath publish a book. It said, get a T-Mobile Sidekick. And I never got one.
Well, it came with a game called Bob's Journey to the Center of the Earth. And I, the other day, pulled up videos and watched somebody play it because I crave it so badly. It was so fun. I remember being at the after school program YMCA playing Bob's Journey to the Center of the Earth, losing my ever-loving mind. It was so fun.
Oh, you can play it online, bestie.
Send me the link.
I'm sending you the link.
Thank God. Oh my God.
I have no idea if this is going to install spyware on your computer, but I feel like you're at the point where it's worth the risk.
Right? No. Oh, this is not Bob's Journey to the Center of the Earth.
No?
No.
No, sorry.
It's okay. I feared because I found the same link and went, I can play it online, and then was disappointed. So,
okay. Well, if you know where we can find Bob's Journey to the Center of the Earth.
If you have a T-Mobile Sidekick sitting at the bottom of your bedside drawer,
please send it to me so I can check that off my bucket list, and then I will bring it to Madison.
Thank you. Okay. Would you like to share your magic moment?
Oh, yeah.
We are back and better than ever in the unhinged side tangents.
Yeah. Someone's sitting there poised with a notebook, ready to take notes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the first episode, and we're just
edging you.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyways, if you don't want to take notes, reminder that we have a Patreon, and we have listed all of these ideas in our Patreon, so you can just print them out. So, demystifymagic.com. Anyways, my magic moment is, so my dog, Woody, he loves his lamb chop stuffy. He has 3 lamb chop stuffies. 3 of them. We call them Lammy. And if you visit my house, he will one by one gather each of his lammies in his mouth, bring them to you, not let you take them, and just show them to you while his tail wags and while he squeaks like because he's so excited.
Don't like that sound.
He will show each of those lammies to you, and then he will drop them on his bed, and then he will shake them around with his little head. He brings them to bed with him. He brings them into my office. He brings them one by one. Wherever he is in the house, there's a lammy.
You know, that's like a phenomenon. Like, there have been articles written about it that, like, dogs love lamb chop.
Why do they love lamb chop? It's the only toy he has never destroyed, to the point where one day Herc, I think, was mad at Woody, and he pulled the stuffing out of Lammy's paw, and Woody was so upset. I had to cram the stuffing back in, and now when Herc touches Lammy, Woody growls at him.
Oh my God.
And I'm
yeah,
like,
my mom's dogs will do the same thing, where it's the one toy that they won't destroy. They get so dirty nasty, but they'll bring it to you when you walk in the door and show it to you, and you think they want you to play with them, but no, they just want to show it to you.
Yeah, Woody will take his Lammy on walks with him.
That's really
cute.
He
will walk around the neighborhood with Lammy in his mouth. I love it. So anyways, I bought Woody a Woody sized Lammy. This Lammy is literally, quite literally, the size of him. Woody is 45 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's bigger than Hercules. And Woody loves Big Lammy so much. And now Woody is carrying around a comically large size Lammy, which is my favorite thing about owning a small dog, is getting him toys that are just a little bit too big for him to carry and just watching him carry them around. He's like shaking it with his head. I'm like, buddy, you're going to throw your neck out. But I love it so much. He's like cuddling with it. It's the same size as him. He has it on his bed. And every time I see it, I can't stop. Like sending videos of Herc and Woody playing with this Lammy to Madison. I can't stop. It's literally, if you look at our text thread, it is just videos and photos of this Lammy.
It is. It's like you're doing to me what Woody does to guests, which is you're bringing me the Lammy and making me look at it.
I will post this photo so everyone can see it. But when I gave it to him, Woody has the biggest fucking grin on his face, to the point where I took a photo and I sent it to every single person I know. And I said, have you seen a happier dog?
Have you seen?
And then Herc is just in the
creature?
background, just looking scared of it because it's bigger than him.
And I don't blame him. I really don't.
Anyways, that has brought me so much joy this week. Like, such a tremendous amount of joy. I can't even express. I'm upset that I'm in my office right now because Woody and Big Lammy are downstairs and I can't just watch them constantly. So that is my magic moment. What is yours?
Mine is also a moment of just pure joy and excitement, which is previously introduced on the podcast, my friend Bridget, who has the Google Calendar with all of her friends' major life events in it.
Mm-hmm.
She, her husband, and her 2-year-old son came to stay with Drew and I for a couple days, and they live in Atlanta. Bridget's one of my best friends in the world. We've been friends since I was 18, and watching her and her husband become parents has been a huge source of joy for me. But their son now has outshone. We go to see Bridget and her family, but we really go to see the 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And her son remembers who I am now. He's old enough to recognize, oh, that's Auntie Madison.
Auntie Madison.
It's so cute. He got out of the car and immediately ran and gave me a hug and was like, Auntie Madison. He recognizes my face. And that has been the biggest source of joy. I got to take him to my mom's house where there's numerous farm animals.
Mm-hmm.
And got to help him feed a cow, and he fed the chickens. And
Aww.
My mom, for someone with no grandchildren, my mom has a lot of fucking kids' toys.
Yeah.
She randomly had a pop-up lemonade stand that she had just found on clearance at Michael's or something, and was like, oh, this might come in handy. She had that for him. We have kids in our lives. It's not she's just this is not her way of bullying me into having kids, just so everyone's clear. This is not.
Sure.
I'm okay with the children's toys that she has. They're not a statement. But she has a baby tractor. And so he got to drive around the baby tractor. So fucking cute. And so we did that. We went home. He went to bed, obviously. The next day, they ask him what he dreamed about every night, which I think is really cute. And he goes, the chickens. He dreamed about the chickens and the cows. And he's just so sweet. And he was so sweet with our cats. It was just really, it was a huge source of joy. Especially Drew and I are child free by choice. And I just love, I love other people's kids. It's not I don't fuck with kids type thing. It was just really fun to have him around and get to not only show him my life, but to show my friends my life. They haven't been down to St. Pete since I've moved here, things like that. And so it was just a very joyous little situation.
I love that.
When they left, they were packing up the car, and I would ask him who he wanted to sit where in the car whenever we would go somewhere. I would be do you want mommy to sit next to you, or do you want Auntie Madison to sit next to you? It was always Auntie Madison. But then they were getting in the car to leave, and he like picked out my stuffed animal that I was going to have for the car ride and goes, Auntie Madison will sit by me. And I said, oh, I had to be like, I'm so sorry. I'm not getting in the car. And I sobbed.
Oh, did he pick out a lamb chop for you?
You know, he didn't. He fell in love with a little Peep stuffed animal that Drew's mom
Oh
put
my
in our
God.
Easter basket because she still makes him an Easter basket, which is really cute. And so we
That's
just
so
put
tender.
what we do with anything that we don't know what to do with. Like I have some Squishmallows and like my Warmie, they all just like sit on the guest room bed, and I'd kind of forgotten about him. So I just sat it on the guest room bed, and it became like his favorite thing
Perfect.
ever. So that was what he would bring to me. He goes, gotta
Oh,
get my
perfect.
bunny.
I can't wait to snuggle those squishmallows.
I know, they're waiting for you.
I love a squishmallow.
Okay, should we have the actual episode now?
Ooh, yeah. Let's dive in.
Yeah, let's do the real part, the part that we all came here for.
Okay, yes. All right, some low-key discreet magic for broom closet witches. Number 1, silently saying your intention while cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Easy peasy, especially if you are using ingredients. Honestly, like one of my favorite ways to be low key is to have like a little bit of a Rolodex of
Mm-hmm.
the intentions of the ingredients that I use a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously like salt and pepper, bay, garlic, onion
Mm-hmm.
powder, like the seasonings that you use a lot in
Chocolate.
your cooking. Ooh, yeah, sure. Sharp left there, but yes, for
Caramel.
sure. Caramel, sugar.
Not a sharp left. Yeah, like I fuck with chocolate every
Oh,
day.
of course.
Yeah.
Coffee,
Coffee.
cinnamon.
Yeah, whatever your I do this and I often share it on Instagram. I turn whatever my hyperfixation meal is into a spell. So whatever food I can't stop eating, I look up like the magical intentions if I don't know them. And I just keep that in my mind every time I make it. I'm like, oh, I'm putting this red pepper hummus on here for energy. I'm putting this, sourdough bread for healing. I'm doing salt for protection. Whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be like, you don't have to know you don't have to be like a walking encyclopedia, but just knowing, okay, these are the flavors that I enjoy. And even if you're not cooking, I do this at restaurants too. If I'm deciding between, 2 dishes, I'm like, oh, well, this one has, green beans in it for abundance, or this one has apples in it for self-love. What do I feel like I need today? And then as I'm eating the food, I'm setting the intention mentally. So I'm just holding in my awareness, okay, this one as I eat, it's supporting me with this. This ingredient as I eat is supporting me with this.
Yeah, and that can also be done with whatever intention you have. So if your intention is like spiritual nourishment, physically nourishing your body can nourish you energetically as well. Like things like that, like finding intention, even if it's not like the textbook definition of what that ingredient supports, you can kind of hold any intention that you have mentally, especially if you have a personal connection to an ingredient. Like if apples are something that bring you a lot of comfort because you grew up picking apples in the orchard with your family, whatever, like, those kind of things. Finding those associations can help you create your own Rolodex too, that you don't need to rely on what other people say.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. Or using like color magic in your meals or whatever kind of like comes really naturally and easily to you.
Yeah, you can also, like, if you are a morning beverage person, give that intention to your beverage. Stir a sigil or a symbol into your beverage. Sit with even if it's that you have a glass of water in the morning. Sitting with that glass of water, just taking a deep breath and giving your intention to that beverage.
Yeah. Hundo P. Yeah. And sometimes I even like, if I don't feel like making a whole sigil, I will just stir a word into my cup. Like, did you ever do this in like kindergarten? Did you ever trace letters in shaving cream on the desk
No.
with your finger?
Well, actually, I don't know for sure. I don't remember if we did. That's fun.
Yeah. So you would have shaving cream on your desk and you would draw with your finger your letters. And I always think of that when I'm stirring words into my cup. So if I'm sitting there, say I'm at a restaurant and I'm listening to someone talk and I have a straw in my cup, I'll just start writing like A, B, C, D or whatever. Like, and then, no one has to know like I'm specifically writing abundance or like protection or like fuck off person who's won't stop talking about whatever, banish them or whatever. They just think I'm stirring my drink and it's fine. If you want to be even more discreet, you can stir clockwise to call in an intention and counterclockwise to release. So you can hold whatever you want to call in your awareness as you stir clockwise, whatever you want to release as you stir anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise.
That's what they
propaganda.
say in the UK. I
Do
just
they?
wanted to be inclusive. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That feels like we're part of the anti-clockwise coalition.
Anti-clockwise coalition. That's going to be our next t-shirt.
Great. I love it.
Next on our list is how to make a discreet altar. And I'm going to give my ideas. Madison, I want you to give your ideas because we haven't talked about what we're going to say for this. We just wrote altar. Yeah. But something I do is I have a bookshelf altar behind my desk.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. It's a mixture between books that bring me joy, all of my like 5 or 6 star reads. I also have, I'm looking at it right now. So my fourth wing shelf, I have some crystal dragons. Nobody thinks that's witchcraft. I mean, they do because it's also surrounded by like the rest of my office, but you know what I mean?
They do because it's
like
you,
yeah. The decor next to the books is very intentionally placed because this is also what you see if you're on Zoom with me. So I have very intentionally placed colors, crystals, shapes. I have some like rocks that I picked up, like my hagstone rock that I've talked about on the pod. I have a dried flower that was from my wedding that represents my grandmother. And then I have a couple of crocheted animals that listeners have made for me. Thank you so much, by the way. And I have them there to kind of like represent my intention when I'm on a call. So like my intention is always like to help redirect you to you and you to your own magic. And so those, I intentionally placed there to remind me of that visually. And then I have, my black dragon, which represents Taryn from Fourth Wing, if anyone asks. But it's also made of obsidian, and so it's a protection. And then I have, a couple other crystals that are like deliberately placed. But if you looked at it, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's a witchcraft altar. You would just be like, oh, that's a cute bookshelf. Same thing on my nightstand. My nightstand is a sleep altar. And so if you look at it, you're going to see, my phone charger and my lip balm and my lotion. But you're also going to see, like, if you turn the lotion container over, you're going to see a sigil. If you look underneath the actual bedside table, I put a giant log of selenite to cleanse my energy while I sleep and to cleanse the energy of those things while I sleep. I have an amethyst there to help bring me relaxation. And so, it's one of those things that it's like, oh, it just looks like, your average everyday nightstand to you. But to me, I very intentionally place each of these items in specific parts of the nightstand and in a specific way to invoke that intention of sleep. So I think you can do that with like any space in your house that you decorate, your desk, your bookshelf, your nightstand, your TV stand, whatever space you have in your home. Just tending to it with intention turns it into an altar. It doesn't have to even have crystals on it or anything witchy. It can just have your regular old things that you keep, and that is your altar.
Yeah. I was going to talk about the nightstand, but also, like, there are things that people who aren't very witchy have in their homes that you could call an altar. If you have any kind of memorial setup for someone who's passed in your home, that can be an ancestral altar. For me, like, an altar is not, my altar at least, is not full of things that you would necessarily find to be super witchy. I mean, I also, like, my house is very witchy. My partner and I both work for a metaphysical store, so like it is just kind of a different vibe. But the things that are most important are I have a little crochet dolly of the Sagittarius symbol that my best friend's older sister, Kelly, we've talked about her all the time. I don't know why I don't just call people by their names. I give all the qualifiers.
Yeah,
Kelly.
One of these is from Kelly.
Kelly, sister of the podcast, made for me for my birthday
Yes.
one year. Pictures of my grandfather, pictures of Linda,
Mm-hmm.
things that Linda gave me, things that remind me of her, you know, like I have her favorite crystal, things like that. Like I have a little space for her. If I had those in a less like, if they weren't surrounded by like cauldrons and candles with sigils on them, they would just be things that make me think of my friend. And I really think like the through line here is part of being in the broom closet is like having firm energetic boundaries, which is that you don't have to explain yourself to people. If you have a space that is dedicated to your practice and somebody asks you questions about it, you can hold firm boundaries and say, oh, they're just things that bring me joy.
Yeah.
They're things I like to look at.
Or I just haven't put those things away yet. Yeah, I'm thinking too, I'm staring at my other bookshelf and it's like a 3-tiered bookshelf and it's an homage to like past versions of myself. And so I have like one that is connected to like my work. So I have like an award that I won at when I had a job. I have a job. When I had a job working for someone else.
When I had a real job.
An award. When I had a boss. And then I have one dedicated to like kind of the inner skeptic in me, like my former skeptic self. So I actually have like a ceramic dragon that I made when I was in like high school, I think. And then I have like, you know, a representation of my first teacher and, you know, kind of like some mementos for that in books and things like that. But like if you look at it, it just looks like a collection of things on a shelf, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of the aesthetic altar stuff that we see online looks very witchy, which is like gorgeous and cool. And I love that. I really like having that aesthetic.
Yeah.
But if that's not for you, it's okay to just create a space of things that you love. People display things all the time. Like it's just decoration.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is a level, like I think that having privacy in a practice is really beautiful.
Yeah.
This is something that Molly and I talk a lot about, like off mic, is this idea of like what is for us versus what is for the world. Like what do we feel comfortable sharing and what feels like it's just for us. And I think when you follow a lot of people who talk very outwardly about their practice, it can be easy to fall into the idea of that's what it's supposed to be like. And that the only way to be a witch is to like tattoo it on your forehead and like scream about it from the rooftops. And just know that the people who are doing that have things that are for themselves as well. Things that they don't share, things that maybe only they know about, things that they don't share with anyone. And those are the parts of their practice that are, I would say, like can be the most beautiful, are the ones that are just for them, are the ones that are like not for anybody else to see. And so if you are someone that doesn't feel super comfortable sharing about their practice, I really feel it important to say that that does not mean anything about your practice. And I think that there's like this resistance to the idea of quote unquote being in the broom closet. I can also kind of struggle with that verbiage too, because I think that there's a reframe there too of just keeping things personal. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That does not mean that like something's being kept from you, you know, or that you're like, you don't owe anybody insight into your spiritual world.
Yeah. I think what's so interesting is like one would assume that I'm very like open about my practice because it is, you know, what I talk about. I have a podcast about it. I have an Instagram. I'm writing a book about it. But I think if you were to follow me, like if you were like the people who are in my life, for instance, my spouse, who is full-blown skeptic, like does not believe in magic and is very supportive of me. He's like never impacted by my practice. You know, like I think my actual practice is not as loud as I make it on social, or I make it online. It's loud online because I want to show you options and I want to give you tools. But my actual practice when I'm at home, actually like, you know, walking my walk, is very much internal. 90% of the time when I'm doing a practice, it's when I'm making breakfast, when I'm drinking my coffee, when I'm mopping my house. And that is all happening inside me in terms of like setting the intention silently, stirring my coffee or whatever. Like, I think one could argue that if you didn't walk into my office and see, all of my witchy shit, I don't know if you would know that I'm a witch if you just met me. You know?
Yeah, totally. And I think that that's normal. Like, that is the most common way to be.
Yeah.
And I think that there's like a level of self-assuredness there and like a level of confidence in your own practice that I think is really badass.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, like we did our listeners' Day in the Life of a Witch episode last week, and a lot of those practices are not things that you would be able to see.
Yeah.
So I think giving yourself permission to like, you're allowed to be quiet. You're allowed to be silent about your practice. And you're also allowed to be loud, just depending on who you are, your situation, your season you're in.
Yeah. Hundo P.
Okay, tiny detour because this is too good not to share.
This episode is sponsored by Libro FM.
Listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Reading fairy smut is a valid form of sacral chakra healing.
But let's face it, sometimes reading with your eyes is not the vibe. Sometimes you want to tap into your inner feral energy while doing the dishes. That's where audiobooks come in.
And no one does it better than Libro FM, our favorite audiobook platform where you actually own your audiobooks and your money goes to support your fave local indie bookstore, not some billionaire's rocket fuel. And to sweeten the deal, you can click the link in the show notes of this episode and use the code DEMYSTIFY to get 3 audiobook credits for the price of 1 when you switch to Libro.
You could heal your sacral chakra, regulate your nervous system, and awaken your inner fae in 1 moon cycle. Just saying.
Click our link in the episode description to start your journey. Pick your fae, pick your shadow daddy, support your local bookstore, and say yes to sacral realignment through magical softcore chaos.
This is energy work with wings and leather. You're welcome.
And thank you to Libro FM for sponsoring this episode. All right, after that derailment, our next one is sigil sock magic.
I love this because I really, okay, this is going to sound strange when I say it, but I focus a lot of energy when I cleanse, when I get ready. Like a lot of things in my practice, I focus around my feet because I feel very strongly about keeping that space clear because that's what roots me. The area where I ground, the area that connects me to the root. So I'll spray Florida water on the bottom of my feet. I always make sure to cleanse the bottom of my feet when I'm smoke cleansing. And I'll draw sigils or like use color magic with my socks.
Yes. Yeah. And we've talked before, if you don't want to draw sigils like where people can see them, use clear nail polish on the soles of your shoes.
Or just with your finger.
Yeah. You don't even have to make it permanent.
Yeah. It does not have to be a permanent addition. It can, in that way, you can change it every day.
I like that.
Right?
I like that.
All right. Next on our list is shower spells. This is something I do every time I take a shower, using the power of that water as a spiritual cleanse.
Yep.
I also choose my soaps with magical intention. Drew and I wait all year for the Rose Jam shower gel from Lush. It's a seasonal item. We buy the big guy, we ration it all year long, and then we buy it again.
As a Snow Fairy super fan, I get it.
Right?
I get it.
It is like, and you know what? That's my Yuletide ritual is getting my Rose Jam. But using that and thinking about the pink for love, self-love, healing, rinsing the like yuck, the physical yuck and the energetic yuck that I've accumulated throughout the day. Imagining all of the energy that does not belong to me going down the drain, all of the dirt, all of the any like negativity that I've held on to or looped on. I do this a lot with like anxiety. Letting that, literally imagining it like dripping down and circling the drain and going through the sewage system and getting as far away from me as possible.
Yeah. I'm gonna add a controversial addition to that ritual.
Hit me.
And that is peeing in the shower? Are you for or against?
I feel like there are two people. There are people who say that they pee in the shower, and there are liars.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. But we've talked about it before. You naturally cleanse energy when you release your bladder.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're doing that release, you're literally releasing from the inside out while you're cleansing. And
Yeah.
so I am all for peeing in the shower as a ritual.
Strongly for.
Mm-hmm. 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 Next is using jewelry or makeup as glamour magic. If you wear these, if you don't, then that's cool. But I want you to think about what a wedding band represents. We all know what it means, like if someone's wearing a wedding band on their left ring finger, right? That is an intention.
Yeah.
That is a spell. That is someone saying, like, I am committed to this person.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can take that same idea into all of our jewelry, into whatever you're putting on. You know, if you wear a piece of jewelry every single day, maybe that's a protection, token.
Mm-hmm.
Same with your makeup. When you're putting makeup on, you're literally putting on a mask. Does that mask protect you from people seeing into who you really are? Does that mask allow you to embody your authentic self more? Like, making those choices and making those decisions while you're getting ready in the morning, I think is a really powerful way to embody your intention and embody your magic.
Yeah, I try to imbue my makeup and my skincare with the energy of confidence. Because for me, I usually wear makeup when I am trying to appear more professional. So, like, if I'm meeting with someone at the store, or I'm, having, I don't know. Truthfully, I don't have to do it a lot because I'm very blessed to get to show up with my purple hair and covered in tattoos and say hi. But in those moments where I really want to, like, embody the most, like, adult quote unquote version of myself, I've given that energy to my makeup, and I pull that out to say, okay, like, we're stepping into this role of, like, very professional business lady.
See, I have the opposite with my makeup, because I spent so long being professional business lady that now my makeup is for me. It's
I love that.
For me to introduce my play and my creativity as someone who I really wanted to be a makeup influencer in like 2006. Like when YouTube was just starting, I was like, oh, I want to do makeup tutorials so bad. I love makeup. I love collecting makeup. I love playing with makeup. I love doing makeup. I love watching people do makeup. I just love makeup. And something that I've been doing and sharing on my Instagram lately is I have been choosing a crystal and embodying the energy of that crystal while I do my makeup. So like making choices around, would this crystal have a smoky eye, or would this crystal be more like clean girl aesthetic, or what colors does this crystal embody? Is it sparkly? Is it matte? And really like imbuing every step with the energy of that crystal. And I have found like it has completely transformed my day. The other day I was doing amethyst and I had the chillest day. It was so chill. It was just such a good day. And the other day I did garnet and I was like, I'm fucking, that bitch.
I'm a powerhouse. Yeah, I've loved watching those too. I have found those to be really fun. All right. Next on our list will not surprise you at all. Cleaning is cleansing.
I don't know how many episodes we have about this, but a lot.
I know. Go listen to them, because cleaning, I think most recently is our spring cleaning episode. Anything where you're removing, the same as showering, anything where you're removing the physical yuck, you can remove the energetic yuck. It's all about your intention. So as you're dusting, as you're mopping, as you're vacuuming, hold that intention in your awareness and think to yourself, okay, as I suck up these dust bunnies, I'm also removing any stagnant energy that is no longer in alignment with my highest good.
Yeah. The 3 that I always get requests for mundane magic is clearing clutter, washing dishes, and folding laundry. And so I'm going to leave in the show notes for you my mundane magic meditations you can download for free. And all 3 of those are in there. And so you can just pop your headphones in, tell people you're just listening to your favorite podcast, us, and play those meditations while you do it. And it'll do it for you.
Incredible.
Great. Next is working with the moon inside. So this
Mm-hmm.
could be sitting in the moonlight by a window. That counts. So does setting a glass of water on the windowsill overnight for moon water.
Yeah, and that's so easy. You just left it there. Oh,
Yeah,
forgot about that glass of water. Let me drink that really quick.
I do that anyways. Sometimes I leave my water bottle in my car and then I forget about it. And then the next day I'm like, great, now I have moon water.
Now it's moon water.
Yeah.
We also have journaling as a form of spell work.
Mm-hmm.
If this is manifestation list, gratitude journaling, scripting, that's something that we've talked about, like, writing this like new kind of like writing out your new reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's witchcraft. Even just like a regular journaling process is
Mm-hmm.
a spiritual practice. Like that is a spiritual, because if your life is spiritual, then your journals are spiritual, and that helps aid in your spiritual process.
Yeah, I was going to say any kind of creative writing. I very distinctly remember I was talking to one of my students who, I'm not going to call you out by name, I promise, but they talked about in their attunement session. So it was a group session. They admitted this in front of a group, but they used to write fan fiction and write themselves into the fan fictions.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, that is a manifestation ritual. Like, so you could
I'm
write any sort of
obsessed.
creative writing and just have one of the characters. It doesn't have to have your name. They gave them a different name, but they just knew like, that is me, that I'm writing, that is me. And
That's
so
so
any
fucking
form of creative
incredible.
writing, assign one of those characters as you. That's your manifestation ritual.
I love that. That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh,
good. Next is candle magic. So it is completely acceptable for non-witches to have candles in their house. So therefore, any candle can be candle magic. That vanilla scented candle on your desk, it becomes a ritual tool when you light it with intention. That white candle for healing. Maybe you have colored candles throughout your space. Maybe you just happen to have on your mantle some photos of your ancestors that you want to remember, and some white candles that you light for ambiance, and that is your ancestral offering.
yeah. Even like those big packs of white tea lights that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
White candles are an excellent thing to use for candle magic. One, if you're balling on a budget. And
Mm-hmm.
two, if you're keeping your practice private.
Mm-hmm.
White can kind of be assigned to any intention. It's like the Uno wild card of color magic. And so just lighting that white candle, stating your intention in your mind, holding it in your awareness,
Mm-hmm.
and letting it go, letting it do its thing,
Yeah. I also love tea lights because they pool really quickly. So you can
Yeah.
carve sigils into the top of a tea light and then light it. And within like a few minutes, that sigil is not going to be visible, but the intention is still going to be there.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, like with 3-wick scented candles, like a Bath and Body Works moment, carving it small in the center,
Mm-hmm.
or like near the wick, or you can draw it with your finger on the bottom,
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, picking candles based on their scents and their intentions. Again, like just like with cooking, if you have a scent that you really love, whether it's a candle, a bath product, a perfume, look up the magical properties of that scent and just hold that intention every time you smell it. And it will get really, really strong because your limbic system and your brain is really good at associating emotional states with scents. So it's a really powerful manifestation ritual to assign a specific scent and intention, because you will eventually like Pavlov yourself to feeling that intention when you smell that scent.
I've done that. So we burn Christmas candles all year long, like anything fir, anything balsam, because that's a smell that like elicits a feeling of joy and calm in me. And so we light that when people are coming over. So I have that association of like the joy of friends and community. We light it when we finish cleaning the house, so it imbues that feeling of like accomplishment and like safety and security and like hominess, And so then now when I want to feel those things, I light that candle. It smells like Christmas. I feel all those feelings of those past experiences.
I love that. Yeah. Same for me with balsam smells. I think because it reminds me of Christmas, but it also reminds me of home, me.
Yeah.
And so anytime I smell balsam, same with like the smell of campfires for me is like really, really comforting.
Yeah. For me, it's the smell of rain. Yeah.
Cute.
I love a good summer storm. Okay. Next, we've got enchanting your alarm or your phone wallpaper. So imbuing that image on your lock screen or on your home screen if you want something that like isn't, that nobody can tap your phone and see what it might be, something that has to be unlocked. But that can be as easy as like having an affirmation. That is something that anybody can do. It's not inherently like, putting up the witchy alarm bells.
My lock screen for 10 years, my entire 20s, it was just a Pinterest image that said, work hard, dream big. And it became my mantra. It became my mantra. This was, again, breadcrumbs of my witchiness.
Yeah, for sure.
Coming to the surface. But that was my whole thing. And so whenever I feel like my motivation is waning, I always say to myself, work hard, dream big. Work hard, dream big.
This is something that you can also do with your alarms. You know how you can like add the little text? There's this guy on TikTok. You must have seen him. His name's Tim. And he does like day in the life vlogs. He lives in New York. Every day, his alarm says something different, And I think that that's a great place to put affirmations.
Or intentions for the day.
Yes.
Yeah. Or emojis too. You can imbue with intentions. Just like how we talked about candle scents can create intentions based on the emotions you associate with them. I do that with emojis. So I have an emoji that I use to basically with the intention of like anyone who this post is not designed for will be repelled from it. And I use that on kind of like my hot takes. When I have a hot take that I want to share with the internet, I'll use that. Or I'll use that in the group chat. Like the other day, our HOA has a group chat and I was like, would anyone be interested in a neighborhood yard sale? And I put that emoji. It's just like, nobody's going to bully me for this.
Yes. I have first of all, the weirdest thing about me, I think, is that I have my apps color coordinated.
Oh my God.
They're in folders. So I have a red folder, an orange folder, a yellow folder, a green folder.
How do you decide what goes? Oh, the color of the app?
Yeah.
That is disturbing.
I know. I don't want to talk about it. But I have... So the name of the folder that they're all in, each one is an affirmation.
Wait, mine are affirmations too.
Right? And it's something that like you really have to be looking at my phone to see that. I have had it happen once where somebody, my nosy ass friend, I'm like literally just opening my phone and he goes, does that say I am wealthy? And I said, yeah. And what about it?
Yeah. And what about it? This was like something that went around a couple of years ago. It was like some CEO referenced that like she does this on her phone, is like names all of her folders as affirmations. And she wasn't even like a witchy CEO, I don't think. She was just like a normie, a muggle. And I did that. Yeah, I have that too. All of my banking apps are in a folder called I Am Rich. All of my business related apps are in a folder called I Am Self-Employed, and they have been in that folder since I had a day job.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. I do not color coordinate my apps. I, like a normal person, group apps together based on their function and use and why I need them.
I understand that makes more sense, but listen to this, because my affirmations are based in the color magic.
Shut up. I love that.
So my red apps, I am safe. My orange apps, I am creative. My yellow apps, I am confident. For green, I am loving. For blue, I am powerful. And for purple, I am intuitive.
Okay, so I guess I should read what mine are.
So suck my butt. Because that's a great idea.
I am self-employed. I am rich. I am connected. That's where all my socials go. My socials that I don't use for my business. And I am prepared. And that's like all my weird shit, like Google Maps and my passwords and whatever.
Yeah. And I don't even really like read them very often. But it's just that it's like it feels subconscious.
Totally. Hundo P. Wow, I love that. Next.
Next on our list, we have low-key crystal magic, which we have it written here to put in your bra or your underwear. I'm also going to say in your pocket is enough, you know?
Your backpack.
Yeah, your backpack. I will make little crystal, like my own little crystal kits, and I'll put them in little organza bags, seal them up, put them at the
Same.
bottom of my purse. In like, you know, the cup holder like in the side of your driver's side door in your car that like is awkward to use for a cup, and it just usually ends up being where trash goes.
Yeah.
I have crystals in there in the bottom, in the glove box, like parts of my car that like, you know, maybe like behind the seat, parts of my car that like you're not going to rifle through. Keeping little crystal kits in there in the back corner of like a closet, in your underwear drawer, like in the back of a kitchen cabinet. You know, like there's places that things can fit naturally.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to be super out and loud.
Can I tell you a really funny car witchcraft story?
Tell me.
So we've talked about this on the pod before, but I have twigs from Portland's oldest cemetery that the cemetery allowed me to take. They were from the ground, and I use them for protection magic. I have one in my car. I have it in the back seat pocket, and I completely forgot about it. No one has ever asked about it. Like one time someone was in the back seat of my car, and they were like, "Oh, one of your dogs brought a twig into the car." And I was like, "Yep." And then the other day, Joe, who helps edit my YouTubes and just knows how witchy I really am, like just sees me. She was in the back of my car and she was like, "Why do you have a twig back here?" And I was like, "Oh, the cemetery gave it to me." And she's like, "Yeah, that tracks."
I thought that story was going to be that you got your car detailed, and I thought you were going to say that they like did something with it.
No, I was so scared they were going to throw it away. So I actually took it out when I brought my car to get detailed and put it like in my purse.
Proud of you. I was really worried for a second. I was like, this doesn't sound funny. This sounds tragic.
No. Next is if you are any kind of crafter, a knitter, a painter, a crocheter, crafting spells into your project. So each stitch could be for protection, for calm, for whatever you need. Each, you know, if you're a coloring person, like coloring with color magic, or, you know, those mandala coloring books are really popular, and you can like intentionally color them while focusing on like maybe you're working on your root chakra, and so you do a red mandala while you're focusing on that part of your body. It looks like a hobby, but it is a spell.
This is also a really great form of like active meditation, especially like anything that uses your hands. Like I love to crochet. I'm not very good at it, and I hyper focus on it like probably once a year for about 3 weeks, but I do love it when I do it because it is such a great, also cross stitch. I would say that my meditative practice was at its height when I was really into cross stitch. My screen time was at its lowest. I was listening to so many books. Like I was really in my like my best mental tip-top shape when I was cross stitching, because you have to use your hands and you can't scroll, you can't play Candy Crush. You know, like it's not something you have to be at least like you have to be at least a little bit focused on it, but it also does allow your brain to enter that like alpha state.
Totally. Next is a daily card pull, but in your notes app. So pulling a tarot or oracle card and writing a reflection in your notes app. And I would even go as far to say, like, if you don't have a deck, there are online card pullers.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, you could just Google like tarot card picker or whatever. Or like something I will do sometimes is how many are in the major arcana? 22?
22.
So there's 22 cards in the major arcana of tarot. And so sometimes what I will do is I will just look up random number generator and put in, you know, 0 through 22 or 1 through 22. I forget like how many
it starts at 0. So the Fool is 0.
Yeah. So 0 through 22. And I will have it pick a number for me. And then I will just Google what is the 7th number in the major arcana or whatever. And I will just like let that be my card.
Yeah. You could also do that with 1 through 78.
There you go.
I think you technically do 0 through 21.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
listen.
I do my best.
I think there are like quite a few websites that you can do random, like that will give you a card. And I think those websites will also maybe tell you a little bit about the card as well, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But turning that, like, especially if you're trying to learn tarot, pulling the card, sitting with the card, seeing what comes up for you, and then doing a little bit of research, like that's a really great way. That's how I learned, is by just pulling once a day, every day at least, doing a little bit of reading, noodling on what comes up for me,
Mm-hmm.
and letting that
Reflecting
be.
at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And next in our list, from two book lovers to another, using your bookmarks as spells.
Yes. I think I've talked about this on the pod before, but when you shop at Healing Hedge Witch, one of Madison's stores, they give you an intention card, and that is usually my bookmark.
Yeah, because they just have little affirmations on them. They're just little messages, and they make excellent bookmarks. And so at Spellcrafter, you pull a tarot card when you check out, and I use those as bookmarks, and I'll just pull one from our little stack.
Yes.
Because we have a book club at Spellcrafter, and that'll be my bookmark for that month's book club, and then I'll just put it back when we're done. But you could write your own affirmation or intention on a bookmark that you already have. Write it on a receipt. Use that receipt as your bookmark. You know, like whatever it is that you're using, add a little bit of intention there. It's something that you'll look at often. It makes it a little bit extra fun to do like your reading, especially if you're reading like some self-help or, you know, or if you're reading for school, you know, something that'll pull you back, that intention of like, I am focused.
Yeah. Or like, what are you manifesting? You know, if you're going to school to become a doctor, you know, maybe it's like a little cartoon of a doctor to remind you, right? Or like a sticker. I think sticker magic is just as powerful as sigil magic. So I will use stickers on my water bottles that I assign intentions to, or stickers on my Kindle. I decorate my Kindle. My Kindle is an altar. My Kindle is an altar. I'm going to say it. I choose the color background. I have a clear case. So the paper background behind my clear case, I choose with color magic, and then I assign intentions for each of the stickers. And those are like little sigils. And it is my altar.
I love that.
Yeah.
Something else that you can do is renaming your devices with intention. So, you know, if your phone is your name's iPhone 2 whatever, you know, like however it, like, does it do that to you or just keeps adding numbers when you get a new phone? It's like, you have to choose from this long list of all the previous devices that your headphones have connected to. Like me, giving that a new name, you know, like the clarity portal or connection or, you know, whatever it is that you use your phone for.
Mine, I feel like I'm too serious with my phone because it's where my business lives. And so I renamed my phone to Molly's sick ass phone so that when it connects with my car, I have to like take myself a little less seriously.
That's so funny. Oh my God. I have my Siri calls me princess.
Wait, I love.
Well, what's so funny is that that was what I told it to name me the first time I got an iPhone when I was like 15 or 16.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
I can't figure out how to change it. And so I just have to be called princess. And it's like this begrudging, like, okay, fine. Like, so I wish I could tell you how to change what Siri calls you. But I don't know. So if your 16-year-old self made a decision for you, it's a great way to practice acceptance.
I'm obsessed with that.
Sometimes, like, I'll be like, "Hey Siri, like, how many tablespoons are in a teaspoon, or whatever? How many teaspoons are in a tablespoon?" And it'll be like, 2, princess.
It's 3, but yeah,
you know what I mean. Listen,
I love that.
It's really funny.
That's funny. That's funny. And then our final one, which we've saved the best for last, is pet blessings. So I think of my dogs as like they influence the energy in the space. So the more I love on them, the more I show gratitude to them through their belly rubs and snuggling, the more my space is infused with that love and that gratitude.
I love that. They say that cats are really great like conductors of Reiki energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever my cats will like lay on my chest or one of my cats will lay right up at the top of my head, I think of it as they're giving me Reiki. And so then I give them Reiki as well and create that like kind of chain reaction of like, okay, we're you know, this symbiotic energy giving. Also like purrs, cat purrs are energetically cleansing.
Yeah, they are.
I'll say
They're sound
it.
cleansing.
It's sound cleansing. It's like that physical, like, I don't know. Ugh, I just love my cats.
I love my dogs. Their little squeaks, their little pants, their little smiles. They're shifting that energy.
They are.
Every time I get brought a lammy, just shifts the whole energy in my space.
It's an energetic cleanse.
And if you have, you know, caged animals that can't roam around, it's like that's like an altar in and of itself.
Right?
How you arrange their bedding, their food, their water. That's your little altar. That's infusing into your space.
That's really cute.
Yeah. Did we do it?
I think we did it. Now I want a hamster.
No. Hamsters are stinky.
Well, that's not nice to the hamster. If you have a hamster, include them in your spiritual practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if there are other ways that you keep your practice private, slide into our DMs. Let us know.
Yeah.
We would love to hear about it. And if you try any of these things, what things are you already doing that you didn't realize until listening that these were a part of your practice? Let us know at Demystify Magic on Instagram, or if you would like some more of our unhinged banter. If the first 15 minutes of this episode were right up your alley, I've got great news for you. We've got a Patreon. You would really love it. Demystifymagic.com.
Or if you're sitting there and you want a list of these ideas, those are also on the Patreon. So it's not just silly goofy, it's also helpful, but it's mostly silly goofy.
Yeah, mostly. But, you know, we got to give a little bit of seriousness in there.
Yeah. Hold the light with the dark.
All right. We love you.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison. If you want to learn more about us, you can find all our links in the show notes.
We'd love to know what you think of today's episode, so drop us a review or give us a shout out on social media. And don't forget to let us know your magical moment of the week. Okay, love you. Bye.